Have you ever noticed how some of the most manipulative people never raise their voice, never use insults, and never even look like the villain? They say things like, "I'm just being honest," or "You're too sensitive," or "I'm only trying to help." It's not cruelty they show you, it's concern. It's not aggression, it's care. At least that's what it looks like on the surface. But listen carefully, because there's a hidden language beneath those words. A subtle, calculated tone, dressed in empathy, that twists your reality and leaves you questioning yourself. This is the language of fake empathy, a silent, elegant form of manipulation. And once you learn to recognize it, you'll start to see it in places you never expected, in friends, in partners, in mentors, and sometimes even in yourself. Fake empathy is not always easy to detect. It doesn't sound like deception. It sounds like someone looking out for you. But true empathy is about understanding without judgment. Fake empathy, on the other hand, is about gaining leverage. It pretends to hold space for your feelings, while quietly rearranging the truth to serve someone else's agenda. It's in the way they say, "No offense, but I care about you, which is why I'm telling you this. You're overreacting. I didn't mean it like that." Notice the pattern. Each phrase is a psychological sleight of hand. It deflects accountability, it shifts the blame, and it wraps itself in the warm blanket of emotional intelligence. Manipulation used to be obvious: screaming matches, ultimatums, visible control. But in modern society, control has evolved. It now comes with a smile, a gentle voice, and phrases that sound reasonable. We are trained to associate cruelty with coldness, but the most effective manipulation wears warmth like perfume. It disarms you. It makes you feel heard, just long enough for you to doubt your instincts. The result? You stop defending yourself. You begin to censor your emotions. And eventually, you feel small for ever having felt hurt in the first place. Philosopher Hannah Arendt once wrote that the most dangerous evil is the evil done by nobodies. The kind that hides behind roles, systems, appearances. The kind that says, "I didn't do anything wrong. I was just being honest." Honesty, in this context, becomes a shield. It's no longer about truth. It's about absolving oneself of responsibility. "I'm just being honest" becomes a way to hurt without guilt, criticize without reflection, and maintain control while appearing virtuous. Let's slow down for a moment. Ask yourself, have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling bad, even though the other person never raised their voice? Have you ever apologized for being hurt? Have you ever started to believe that you're too emotional, too irrational, or simply not strong enough to handle the truth? That's not honesty. That's emotional distortion. And often, it's intentional. The truth is, people who weaponize honesty rarely seek understanding. They seek dominance. They say they want to help, but they only help in ways that keep you dependent on their approval. They say they want what's best for you, but somehow, what's best always aligns with their convenience. There's a difference between honesty and integrity. Honesty is just telling the truth. Integrity is how you tell it, when you tell it, and why you tell it. If someone points out your flaws but never creates a safe space to process them, if they offer advice that always seems to center themselves, if their truth feels more like a wound than a mirror, you're not dealing with wisdom. You're dealing with control cloaked in concern. So how do we defend ourselves from this kind of manipulation? The answer isn't to become more cynical, it's to become more attuned. Learn to listen for the emotional residue after the conversation. Did it make you feel lighter, or did it leave you shrinking? Did they express concern, or did they disguise criticism as compassion? Empathy is never an excuse to invade someone's psyche. Real empathy feels like expansion. Fake empathy feels like erosion. And here's something even more uncomfortable. Sometimes we are the ones using this language. When we speak from our wounds, instead of our awareness, we can fall into these patterns without realizing it. We justify our jabs with good intentions. We confuse emotional superiority with emotional intelligence, But if we truly care, we need to be more than honest. We need to be responsible. Honesty without compassion is brutality, and compassion without honesty is cowardice. The key lies in the balance, the space where truth and tenderness meet, not to manipulate, but to connect. So the next time someone says, "I'm just being honest," pause, not to reply, but to truly observe what's happening beneath the surface. Because those words, they can carry two very different energies. One is a candle, meant to light the path. The other is a scalpel, meant to cut under the pretense of healing. Ask yourself, did their honesty come with humility, or with a smirk of superiority? Did it come after you asked for it? Or was it volunteered at the exact moment you were vulnerable? There's a world of difference between someone who shares truth to liberate you, and someone who uses truth to elevate themselves above you. Sometimes, "I'm just being honest" is the closing line of an emotional ambush. It's the defense mechanism of someone who wants the power of truth without the burden of care. And that's not clarity, that's coercion, disguised in virtue. Language is never neutral. It carries the fingerprints of its speaker. It reveals how they see you, how they see themselves, and what role they're trying to force you into. Some use honesty like a bridge. Others use it like a weapon. One invites connection. The other demands submission. You must listen not just to the words, but to the need behind the words. Are they trying to free you from illusion, or are they trying to reinforce their control? Because real truth doesn't shrink you, it expands you. It gives you space to think, not pressure to agree. It doesn't slap you with facts when you're already bleeding. It holds the mirror gently and lets you decide what you're ready to see. Remember this, the most dangerous lies are often wrapped in the language of truth. The most subtle control is often spoken with a soft, reasonable tone. And the most powerful manipulation isn't what they say, it's how they make you feel after they've said it. So speak less, observe deeper, not with suspicion, but with wisdom, because the tone behind the truth always tells you more than the truth itself ever could. So what do you do when you realize you're being manipulated, not with fists, but with carefully chosen words, not with commands, but with a tone that makes you question your own reality? First, pause. Not everything that feels wrong will come with obvious evidence. Sometimes your discomfort is your clarity. Listen to that inner pull. If something feels off, it probably is. Create distance, not just physically, but emotionally. Give yourself space to think clearly. That might mean ending the conversation or pausing before responding. Second, name it. Manipulation thrives in silence. The moment you can name the pattern, gaslighting, guilt-tripping, emotional baiting, you take back power. Start with the simplest truth. I feel like this conversation is designed to make me feel small, even if you only admit it to yourself at first. That awareness is everything. Document patterns. Not every sharp comment is manipulation, but if the same tactics keep showing up, gaslighting, guilt trips, shifting blame, that's not a coincidence. That's a method. Third, don't isolate. Talk to someone you trust, a friend, a sibling. Even an online forum of strangers can offer clarity. You'd be surprised how many people are quietly living under the weight of someone else's emotional games, and how fast the spell breaks. Once someone else says, "That's not normal, you deserve better." Fourth, educate yourself. Read books on narcissism, control, emotional abuse. Watch videos, listen to experts, take notes. The more you understand their tactics, the less they work on you. Because manipulators count on one thing: your confusion. And knowledge is what clears that fog. Fifth, seek therapy. Even if you think you're not that hurt, even if it wasn't that serious. Therapy isn't just for healing, it's for decoding. It helps you understand how you got pulled into someone else's story and how to rewrite your own. And finally, set the boundary. Not always with confrontation. Sometimes it's as quiet as stepping back, changing how much you share, or walking away when their words twist your emotions into knots. Distance is a form of wisdom. Being manipulated doesn't make you weak. It means you are open, trusting, human, but staying in manipulation once you've seen it. That's the real danger. So protect your peace, talk to people, seek knowledge, and trust that your clarity will return once you stop giving power to those who speak with hidden knives. You are not here to be reshaped by someone else's version of truth. You are here to find your own. If this video helped you see something you couldn't name before, subscribe for more. Because here, we speak the language of what's left unsaid. And sometimes, those are the most honest words of all.